To say something?
Yeah, I've managed to rack up a few more plats since the last time we talked about our plat collection.
Well, let's have a look at your.
I've got it up. I want
to have it up as well.
All right, okay, fine.
Keep you true. Keep you honest.
All right. So the last time we talked, I'd done about 8 plats. Well, we both did.
Yeah.
And they were all pretty easy plats. So now I feel like I've got all the super easy plats out of the way.
Yeah.
So all the ones that are left do require some actual effort. So I started going through the games that I had that still needed platting. I think the last time we talked about this, I hadn't platted Gravity Rush 2.
Right.
Because there was like 2 more things I had to do and it was RNG based.
My Name is Mayo as well, I think.
Oh yeah, I did that on Vita as well, just like you did. But yeah, what was I saying? Like 2 days after we were talking about that, I went on Gravity Rush 2 and both the events that I needed to do were live at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So I just got those and got the plat, and that was cool. I'm glad it didn't last like a week. Some people were saying it takes a while. After that, I went back to Wolfenstein: The New Order.
Yeah.
Because I'd done everything in that game. Like, I'd done all the story and everything. I just needed to get the collectibles. So I followed a collectible guide and just went through the game.
Unlock all the perks as well.
Yeah, the perks. But most of them just sort of happened as I was playing. And when I got towards the end, there was only 1 or 2 I needed for like grenade kills.
I think it was the same for me as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember that there was one level I had to load up and farm a guy who, I think he crouched down by a barrel or something like that. You could shoot him and he'll drop a grenade and he'll blow up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was the first level, there was this like cannon thing.
Yeah.
Anti-air cannon. And you go into the room and one of them goes, and starts freaking out. But when they throw the grenade, you got to shoot them before they throw it, and then that blows them up. But then the one after that is to kill people by throwing grenades back.
Yeah.
So I stayed there and kept doing it there. And it was good because if one of them threw a grenade and you threw it back and it didn't kill all of them, that one of the other ones would have the same idea. So eventually you could get like 4 kills at a time. You only needed 10, so... Yeah. But I really like that game. It's got a pretty cool story.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, like, I don't know, there's some things that it's like, like the Datishud, the like Jewish ancient technological fucking... And they had that floating ball that just shot harpoons in all directions.
No, yeah, that bit kind of lost me.
Yeah, but other than that, it was really cool. But some of the technology they had... Because I guess the point they're making is once the Nazis, once anybody rules the world, really, if what they want to do is advance technology, there's no like moral hang-ups or religious hang-ups that stop the advancement of technology. Anything goes. So if the Nazis ruled the world, they don't care about morals or, religion. They're just going to advance technology all they want, no matter who's in the way.
Yeah.
So technology took a massive leap. But it was like way ahead of our current time, the technology. But it was set in 1960.
Yeah.
So it was supposed to be like in was it like 16 years?
Well, the Germans were very like technologically impressive in that.
Mm.
Like you've seen photos of that massive cannon they built that could only be moved around on train tracks because it was so big in that. And they built one of the best ever battleships that had ever been made.
Mm-hmm. They were doing like experiments on dogs and control. Were they the ones that did that experiment where they cut a dog's head off and kept it alive?
I think that was,
was that
Russian guy.
Yeah.
I think it might have been propaganda created by the US during the Cold War.
That's a shame. Because it's not a shame because that's a horrible thing to do, but also it's a nice story.
Like I think the Russian guy did do it, but the video of the dog's head was propaganda.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I don't know. There's a bit of a dispute over it.
But yes, Nazis were already showing when they were around that they were going to push technology in ways that most people were scared of doing it. So they were experimenting on dogs and stuff, and you can see that in Wolfenstein or Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein.
That they've been experimenting on dogs, and they make these mecha dog things, and then when you get a bit further in the future, they're just full mechanized creatures. They're not organic at all.
You also go to the moon.
Yeah, it's sick. Well, no, actually, it's pretty disappointing because you do the whole spacewalk bit, and genuinely, you go outside, shoot a drone, go around the corner, shoot 2 more drones, go back inside, and that's it. You spacewalking, zero gravity is over.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like, they could have done so many cool things, and they put the time and effort in to make the mechanics work and everything. So they had that there, you know, those classes that they could just duplicate, but they didn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
It could have been a whole level that was in low gravity, but no, it was
Just
all
get
on this
one little
moon-based thing. Yeah, it's cool as well because the sound changes. You know how you might expect it to.
Yeah.
Not completely how it should, but
So
it's a nice effect.
you want to talk about your next plot?
All right, you bored of Wolfenstein?
No, I just can't wait for you to get to this subject.
Oh my god, I forgot.
Do you get it now?
So I was playing Plague Inc. on my phone with Yosef.
Yeah.
Because he got it. And he was like, oh, have you seen this game? It's pretty cool. I'm like, man, that's like 5 years old. So I got it on my phone and started playing it again. Now, I remember they made Plague Inc. Evolved.
Yeah.
For Steam. And I had it on Steam. And I was like, I wonder if that ever made it to PS4. And it turns out it did. So I checked the trophy list. Because I was like, I enjoy playing this game, but I'd enjoy playing it more if there was trophies to get out of it. So the trophy list said it took 20 hours. And I was like, it's not too bad, 20 hours, that's all right, decent. So I got it and got home, started playing it. The first set of trophies is to do everything on normal, so I did that. And then Mega Brutal. I got to Fungus, and Mega Brutal Fungus is like the 3rd hardest.
Right.
Mega Brutal, followed by the 2nd hardest is the Vampire one. And the hardest one by far is fucking the Simian Flu one. I hated it. But like they've added all this DLC for these game modes, like Simian Flu, and I can't remember what the vampire one's called, but it's this whole thing where you have like hordes of apes or a few vampires, and you move them around the world and strategically place them, and you've got to take down like research labs and stuff, like actually attack them, and it becomes this like whole different game. But I don't enjoy that. I enjoy what it was.
Yeah.
The original Plague Inc. is much better than when you've got all these pieces to move around a board. It's like, it's just, it ruins it completely. And then on Mega Brutal, it's just even more difficult. Like there's like 2 or 3 specific steps that you can do to beat Mega Brutal. Otherwise, you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And just figuring that out is a ball ache.
Playing it on the phone and tablet. And
yeah.
I tried to see how fast I can kill them all, and that, see if I can try kill them all within 24 hours and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's a trophy for doing that as well. So, I just pulled up the trophy list so I can talk about some of the worst ones.
Go on.
So there are some. You remember when you were playing it? Every now and then you'd get like a combo.
Yeah.
Like Brown Streets achievement for discovering the public defecation combo. So basically, you get some symptoms that make people shit themselves all over the street.
Yeah.
Or Ape's Creed, which is for discovering the Assassin's combo in the Simian Flu one, which, by the way, is based on Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
So the very worst trophies recreate the setting of the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes film, which is specific as fuck. Like, I had to follow a guide because there's so many specific steps you have to do in a specific order at just the right time. Otherwise, you've got to start again. And it's like a 2-hour-long campaign, playing at a normal speed so you don't fuck anything up. It's ridiculous.
Can you like save at any point?
Yeah.
So you could like... It could be like, oh, we've gone 20 minutes without a mutation, I better save.
Exactly. There's some really annoying ones. So the worst one by far is... what's it called? Not Another Zombie Game, or NASG as people call it online.
Right.
So you have to beat the zombie. What's it called? Campaign virus, without using a zombie, because you've got a like set of normal symptoms that have a minute lethality, so it can kill a few people off. And then you've got all the zombie ones, and you can't activate the zombie symptoms at all. So you don't want to get discovered. So as soon as something mutates, you're fucked. You might as well restart. And I managed to get a perfect game where I didn't mutate anything. And I was so lucky. But I spent about 2 evenings trying to get this trophy, and it was ridiculous. So the only way to do it, because they've updated the game to make it harder, and they've made it so that the cure progress goes way too fast to just play it normally. You have to start in India, evolve saliva and bats as transmission, and then obviously the locals see loads of drooling bats everywhere. And there's a tiny, like 5% chance that a news article will pop up to say that a village in India has been run out of town by rabid bats.
Right.
After that happens, you've got to devolve those transmissions so that the people researching the cure continue to research rabies and not your actual virus. So eventually, you'll get a pop-up saying that they've given up on developing the cure because it turns out it wasn't rabies at all, and it's far too late to start research again. So research stops fully, and that's when you can beat that game. That's the only time you can beat the game. And I had a save just after I'd got saliva and bats, and I just kept reverting back to that save over and over and over again for like 4 hours straight.
Fucking hell.
2 separate nights as well, so 8 hours total just doing that. And it's supposed to be a 20-hour plat. I spent like 5 days on it.
Took you a week and 9 hours.
The only reason why I stuck with it...
And you're missing one trophy.
Yeah, but it's DLC trophy. It's to do with Brexit, and I'm like...
Yeah. Do you not want to go for that 100%?
No, I don't want to play it ever again. It's uninstalled. The only reason I kept going, even though I hated it, is because so many of the trophies are easy that I got to like 85%, and that's when I got stuck on all the ridiculous trophies.
Right.
And so yeah, I finally did it after 5 days. Uninstalled it, and I never want to see it again. It was so hard. It was so annoying. My next plat is something we both got. You got it before me, and you said, "Hey, this took me an hour. You do it."
Yeah.
And it's a mobile port of a game, but I've just taken up all the airtime talking about these games, so you can talk about this one.
Old Man's Journey.
It's a very easy plat for those platinum hunters out there.
Yeah, I did it in like 2 hours 40 minutes, but I kept taking regular cig breaks. You did it in
an hour 52 minutes.
It's got like a 76.82% plat rating.
Yeah.
But it's really easy. You just follow an old man along on his journey, and like
it's a cool. First of all, it's beautiful,
brilliant art style.
You can clearly tell it's made by French students because just the fucking quality of it is so good.
So basically, you'll get to a hillside, and then you can go a cursor, and you'll drag a hill over the foreground over the background. It'll make a connection. You can carry on and stuff like that. And it's just really easy, the trophies, just click on a cat or something like that, and then
there's trophies for meeting certain characters, but characters are so scarce in the game anyway. As soon as you see a person, just click on them. Obviously, it was made as a mobile game at first, which probably made it a lot easier to...
Yeah, the only trophy...
Yeah, because there was one trophy which was difficult.
That pissed us both off.
But it's because, obviously, on mobile, you can just touch the screen and move the hill. Yeah. But on PS4, you got to move the cursor there, and then...
Yeah, more button presses and that.
Yeah, exactly. It takes longer.
So basically, the old man gets to a train station. He takes a train, and the train is travelling from left to right, so it's on the left-hand side of the screen, going right.
Mm-hmm.
But every now and then there's a break in the track, and you've got to drag the correct track piece up or down. Yeah.
So you pull the hill that the track's on until it connects with
the thing. And the trophy is you get to finish that chapter without using the emergency brake.
Yeah. So if you don't put the track in place in time, then the train just stops and waits for you to do it. Yeah. But you have to do it without the train stopping. It can slow down, but as soon as you hear the braking sound, which sometimes I'd hear it for like a millisecond, I just hear this, and I'd be like, fuck, restart it.
And then that means you just gotta press options, go back to the chapter select, and do that over and over again, and it will just so the cursor was not very responsive. And it was just,
No.
I
And
think
sometimes you'd click on a hill and it'd get the one behind where you're clicking.
It's like a 3-minute chapter or something.
Yeah.
Feels like it's a 10-minute chapter.
It does feel like forever. But then when you finally do it, you're like, oh, I'm sure there was more.
I spent like maybe between 25 to 40 minutes trying to get that.
Yeah, I did the same, yeah.
I'd say. And it pissed me off. It pissed me off so much that as soon as I did it, I just threw controller down and I had to go outside for a smoke.
I got halfway through and then I was like, I'm getting on tilt. So I went to have a cig and I was messaging you and just bitching and moaning about it to you.
Like you do.
And then I went back and gave it another go and obviously I wasn't tilted anymore. So
and then
easier.
that was just a pretty easy game, basically. And then the game you played after that was The Order 1886.
Yeah, I've sort of been thinking about talking this on the podcast, and I've got an interesting sort of thing to talk about. So it's an easy game. It's just boring.
Yeah, would you say it's a bad game, or it's just a game that was unfortunately not lived up to its, wasn't pushed to its actual potential?
Well, so the game is clearly beautiful. Even now, like it's 5 years old now or something.
It's still very good looking, isn't it?
And it looks better than a lot of games that come out now.
Yeah. But I think if they took that graphical fidelity down a bit,
and
to
focus
Uncharted
more
4 levels, right, and focus more on story and gameplay.
Well, this is what I wanted to talk about.
In fact, the story wasn't even that bad. It's just they didn't focus on, the more interesting subjects they could have focused on.
The story was kind of bad. It was pretty predictable. Like you're fighting werewolves.
Yeah,
and you find out that somebody in the order, the fucking round table of knights, is, a traitor. And it turns out that the traitor, who's also a Lycan, as they call the werewolves, is a man called Lucan.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder.
No, I don't mind that bit. Like the fight between you, who's like a kind of like a semi-superhuman thing. You're not like ultra strong or immortal or anything. Like when you get injured, you have to drink this little
black water.
That's what they call it, and then you heal. But it's not like, because what's her name, Isabeau or something stupid like that, innit? She gets fucked up, doesn't she? And like drinking that doesn't really help her much. It just stops her from dying or something, doesn't it? But I think they set up a really good world. Cause
it's really cool. Like all the Zeppelins and the Tesla technology.
And just the fact that there's still knights, but they don't fight wars anymore. They fight supernatural beings.
Yeah, it could have been so much cooler.
And because the fight you have with that werewolf, just you a regular kind of modified human versus this fucking, just lumbering beast.
Well, that's one of the problems I have with it. Okay, so the final boss fight is against Lucan as a werewolf. And it's just this like one-on-one, you're circling around. It's kind of like the last boss fight in Uncharted 4. But that boss fight is exactly the same as another fight with a werewolf halfway through the game. So there's nothing unique about the boss fight in any way. And I suppose the argument could be made that they were preparing you for that boss fight.
Maybe.
But it should have been unique. It should have been memorable, for one. It's the last boss fight, you know.
I reckon like if they just focused a bit more on like, because I don't mind that the Lycans infiltrated the Templar things, because they are Templars or something, or they're just knights. I can't remember. It could have been better, like, just more interesting, more intelligent and stuff.
Well, the thing I wanted to talk about is to compare it to Uncharted. So it's very similar. I noticed the similarities very quickly. For one, there's collectibles throughout the game that you've got to find. There's, cinematic cutscenes followed by parkour, environment climbing, and very, very long, almost too long, combat scenes. And the game is sort of enjoy some cinematics, get to a fight. Or multiple fights, and the fights are sort of puzzles in their own way, because there's a certain way to win it. There's the best sort of fluid movement throughout the scene that they put you in when you're fighting. Lots of cover to use and stuff. And if you die, you go back to the start of the fight. and then once you finish the fight, that's a checkpoint. So it's almost like completing a puzzle and being allowed to progress to the next, awesome cinematic scene or, stuff like that. But I think the big difference between Order and why it's so boring compared to Uncharted is that Uncharted is more than just a cinematic cutscene and then get into a fight and then winning the fight. There's a lot of that for sure, but the gameplay's cinematic as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of intense, gripping scenes in Uncharted, and they let you be a part of that. They don't just make you watch it. And also the combat in the Order was a bit shit. They had all these cool like space age weapons, but for some reason they felt that all the weapons had to be equal in some way.
Yeah.
So an assault rifle and a fucking arc rifle that shoots fucking Tesla lightning are exactly the same, because there's so many downsides to using the Tesla gun. It's got to charge up for a long time, and it's not very accurate. That the most powerful weapons that you could get are not powerful. You don't appreciate using them. You just wish you had a normal weapon again.
But I don't think it was just like a bad game. I just think that it wasn't pushed to its potential.
Yeah, it definitely could have been a lot more.
I would have liked...
It's a shame as well, because I really do want to like it. When you start the game up and you're introduced to this world for the first time, you're like, oh, this is... People have got to be wrong about this game. It's so cool.
I want them to give it another shot.
Well, they set it up for a sequel. Cause
reboot it or give it a sequel. Or even a prequel.
Right?
Yeah,
it had like a cliffhanger ending, and like it wasn't a full satisfying conclusion. It was like a conclusion to like a sub-story within the game, but then the overarching story continues on.
Yeah, I want them to reboot it. Take the graphical fidelity down. Like, don't be, ashamed to have a few crappy textures and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Add more colour to the palette. It was a very bland, like, grey palette.
Yeah, very desaturated.
And just focus on the story a bit more, man.
Yeah.
And the gameplay, like...
One of the things about the graphics as well, they were amazing on static things. But, like, the animation wasn't bad, but if you had, like, a fire, it would be this lame, just fire texture over a warped plane.
Yeah.
And, like, any special effects like that just looks kind of shit.
So, I can't remember when last time I talked about my trophies. I think maybe I just platted the Swords of Ditto, and I was happy about that.
Yeah, I think we talked about that.
Because then after that, I went home and I platted 36 Fragments of Midnight on the Vita.
Oh, God.
Which was annoying. It's even worse on the Vita, mate.
Yeah.
It's so sensitive, and the frames drop all the time.
Ugh.
So, not only are you overshooting things, but when you're trying to be accurate, the frame drops and you just undershoot it or overshoot it or just fuck it up entirely. But I didn't do that all in one sitting. I did it like 40 minutes here. I'd watch something. I'd pick up again, do another like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I wouldn't like it was an easy plat. It only took me like 2 or 3 hours, but I don't want to do it again.
But that took me like 9 hours and 41 minutes the second time around.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I played a little bit of Witcher. And there's a trophy of playing it on the hardest difficulty, so I was like, yeah, let's do that. And I was having an okay time. I'm on a quest at the moment. The people who love Witcher will know about it. There's a bloody Baron.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And he has, what's it called? He buried his dead baby somewhere, and it's turned into some creature.
Oh yeah.
And I decided not to kill it. I want to do the extra bit and turn it into a lubberkin, which is a spirit that wards off evil spirits and looks after your family forever and stuff like that. Yeah. And so he's carrying this ugly, gross, mutant baby thing, and then you get attacked by wraiths. And on the hardest difficulty, wraiths are the worst thing to fight. And so I'm stuck on there, and I've not played it since. I'm going to give it another bash this week, I think. So yeah, I've only got one trophy on that. It's a story trophy.
I had it on PC. I haven't played it on PS4 yet.
But every time I wasn't playing The Witcher or watching something on Netflix, I'd be playing Tearaway on the Vita, because I wanted to fucking finally get the plat on that and uninstall it.
Yeah.
My God, is that an awful game?
Yeah, it's been a long time since I did it, and I don't really remember much about it. I don't think I ever talked about it on the podcast because it was long before that. But I just remember being really annoyed by it.
Like, it's a cool idea, like everything's like made out of paper and that. It's pretty fun.
It looks good as well.
And like when I first put my
Charming little
finger
game.
through the screen in the Vita, you know, like that, I thought I was like, oh, that's pretty cool use of that, you know. But the platforming sucks so much.
Yeah.
Like the camera fucking sucks. Like you'll be jumping over these, you know, jumping across these fucking stone things or whatever.
And then mid jump, the camera pans.
Yeah, in the mid jump, camera pans, and you'll just, you know, miss your jump, and you're like, well, fuck you. And there's a few trophies for finishing a level without dying once.
Yeah.
And it just happened to be the most annoying levels like that, like the Wendigo Fisher, where
Wendigos
are fucking throwing shit at you. Like that pissed me off.
That's really annoying.
And
it's really hard to do that without getting hit.
I think you got to finish the last one as well without dying. And
there's one about something to do with pages, inside the pages.
Finish between the pages or something like that.
Yeah, that one's really hard.
That one's really. I actually did that one alright. Like I did it. I think it was like 3 or 4 attempts, and I'd done it. But the last one was really annoying because you get to a part in the level where you've got to ball up and roll down these, you know, paths.
Mm-hmm.
But the paths are all windy and they get really thin and all that. And it's like,
yeah. That's awful.
It also really annoyed me because I had to play that level over so many times. One for just the first run through, while collecting everything. But you couldn't get all the confetti pieces because on the end near the end of the game you have to ball up and wind down those paths again.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one point where it branches off and you can't get back up.
Yeah.
So I had to collect all the confetti on one branch and then go through again and collect the confetti on another branch. Yeah. And just keep doing it until I'd done it all without dying. So I was like, played it through like 8 times that level and it pissed me off.
Yeah. I have an interesting story about playing Tearaway. I don't know if I told it on the podcast before though. So I used to play it on the bus when I was playing it.
Yeah.
And because it's a Japanese device.
Oh, it has to make a shutter noise and take photographs. So
I'd try to, because there's certain parts in the game where it just wants you to take a photo of yourself, like to be the sun or whatever, and you can't do anything about it. Like you can't progress without taking that photo. It doesn't have to be something, like you can just cover the camera and take the photo. But I was on the bus, and every time I did that and tried to covertly take a photo with the device completely muted, it just made this a really loud shutter sound, and everybody on the bus would turn and look at me, and I'm like, ooh. Yeah, fucking ridiculous. And there's laws about that in Japan because of the amount of people like taking upskirt photos and like taking candid shots of people. Like you have to, like devices have to do that loudly.
I think they picked the least worrisome topic to create laws for in Japan. I've seen videos of guys running up to women, ripping like the fucking underwear down. And then like
it's called sharking or something.
Yeah, stuff like that. And there's also one where they get like a bike lock. They'll run over to a girl, grab her by the underwear, just thread the fucking bike lock around her underwear, and then run over to a pole and just lock her to the pole. So she's got to take her underwear off to get free and walk home.
That's horrible.
Stuff like that. And then they chose shutter cameras to focus the laws on. But yeah, it took me 4 years and 7 months to plan Tearaway. Because I got it from my Vita 4 years, 7 months ago.
Is that when you got your Vita?
It must be because it was one of the first games I played. Played it for about an hour. I was like, fuck this.
I got a pack with my Vita that was supposed to be like 10 games or something. Some of them were alright. Most of them were indie games, and like over half of them were just PSP games ported into Vita.
Yeah.
Do you remember Frobisher Cities?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that with that.
Yeah. Nice.
It's a weird game.
So after Tearaway, because I love my Vita and I want to play it more, because there's been a few instances now where I've just left it on charge for years, right, months or a year or something like that, and then I got just to check to see if it was alright, because in back of my mind I know it's like, oh fucking hell, it's probably dead, so I'll just try and turn it on. And it just wouldn't come on, so I had to hold down the power button for 30 seconds. If that didn't work, I'd have to boot up in safe mode and restart the Vita. Yeah. Luckily, it's done that like twice, or 3 times, and luckily every time my Vita's come back to life. Yeah. But I'm not looking forward to the day where I go to use it after like using it the day before or whatever, and then it's just dead. Yeah.
Well, I did that. My Name Is Mayo on the Vita a couple of weeks ago. And then I tried to turn it on this week, and it just wouldn't. So
yeah,
we charged it up though.
So yeah, in order to get more use out of it, I was getting plats on it, and the second plat I got off my Vita was third plat even is Amnesia Memories. Said it's
Yeah,
a visual novel.
You told me about it. You said it was pretty easy to plot, but just
Yeah.
what you told me of the actual game, I was like, well, I don't want to spend time on that.
It's not bad. The CGs are pretty cool. Nice and nicely drawn and that. The main character is pretty cute, but like you don't get to see much of her because she's the main character, and you play as her, and you got to romance boys, and they're like the most like edgy, teeny, brooding gothic boys ever, and you're like, fuck off.
Yeah.
But it was all right. I'd played the first, the male through, first romance interest through, on the good ending once, and I was like, now I've got to play it through for the bad ending twice and a normal ending. So I was just like, I went in the settings, I enabled skip, which is the square button, and I set the speed all the way up, and just pressed square, waited for a choice, chose the right choice, and then just zoomed sped through it again. And I did that for the rest of the stories, but it was enough to get the gist of what each character was about and stuff like that.
Just knowing what the right answer to give them is just tells you a lot about them.
Yeah, that, and just like every now and then, you get to a choice. Just knowing what your choices are kind of gives you a gist of what he asked you and stuff like that, or what the thing was we said before. And then you choose that. He'll respond to what you said in the first sentence, and you just be like, okay, so that's roughly what he meant, and that. Like there was a guy in it who all the girls love him, and that he's got his own little fan club, and I think he has something special about his eyes, and I think his eyes just makes the girls fall in love with him or something, but he didn't work on the main character.
Oh my god.
That's what I got from the sped up
version. And that's why he likes her, because she don't want him for his money. Eyes.
There's a guy called Kent who's super intelligent, and he's all like really logical and like emotionally cold and that. There's just, you end up locked in a cage at some point.
Okay.
By one of the romances you're interested in. I think in order to protect you, because I think you got attacked by someone tried to kill you.
So he put you in a cage.
No, which is why you've got amnesia, and you've got to figure it all out and stuff. And they put you in a cage to protect you or something like that. It gives you like loads of like teddies and shit. And all your options are like, you still fall in love with him for a good ending. It's like, why? Who wrote this?
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. Good CGs. There's 4 trophies there's a mini games section, right? And you have to play ice hockey against the guys and beat them in it. And you got to beat all the guys to unlock a trophy. You beat 3 of them, you unlock a silver trophy or something, or a bronze trophy. Beat the rest of them, you get a silver one. And there's also rock paper scissors, but it's Japanese rock paper scissors. Oh yeah. So you got to choose rock paper or scissors, and if you win, you got to press a mallet icon and you bop them on the head. If if they win, you've got to quickly press the guard button and you like put on. There's no animations; it's just the icons.
Okay.
And you just do the same for that. Beat 3 guys, trophy. Beat the rest of them, another trophy. But there's also a really annoying set of trophy that you get where if you've got the gallery, because you unlock artwork as you play the game, you have to go to each guy's gallery section and look at there's some thumbnails that have got like a rose icon in the top right hand corner, which means interactive. So you've got to go on it, and you've got to press around the screen on things until a guy talks. And they always say really annoying shit, like you'll press the collarbone and he's like, oh, why are you touching me? Yeah, I think I know why. And I'm like, oh, come on. You had to do that a few times. You had to touch her boobs a few times as well, and I was like, oh, okay, all right. Yeah, and then eventually you unlock a trophy for that as well, which is annoying. But it wasn't too bad, just for a plat at the end of it. I experienced one of the stories.
Yeah.
There's a dude as well. I think he might be possessed by a fucking murderous something entity, and he's got like 7 bad endings. Whereas the rest of them only got like 2 or 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did that in like a day and an hour. I didn't play it all at once. I was watching friends. Just put my Vita on my laptop near my eye level, and then every time the screen went dark and nothing was flashing, I knew there was a choice to be made. So I just chose a choice, press square, look up, watch friends, and I'd see it flashing in my eyes. And I did that over and over again until I had to do the extra bit at the end, mini games and stuff. And then Old Man's Journey, but we already talked about that. And I also had bought Deiland or Deiland. I don't know how it's pronounced.
Yeah, it's D-E-I land.
If it was Japanese, it'd be Deiland, right?
I don't know. You tell me.
It feels Japanesey. I don't know if it is. But anyway, that's another mobile port, and it's a very charming game. You're this little kid on a little tiny planet, and you have to rotate it. If like a meteor storm comes, you have to rotate it so that it hits the nothingness on the planet instead.
Okay.
And then you can go over and you can hit the meteorites to get these gems and stuff. If you plant crops when it rains, you can rotate the planet and adjust the clouds so that it speeds up your crops. And
yeah. How easy is it to rotate? Because I imagine on phone you just grab it and move it around, but like on PS4, how does that?
You just press triangle and use the left thumbstick afterwards to rotate it.
Okay.
And plus, when there's a meteorite storm coming, it automatically zooms out, so you can rotate the planet anyway.
All right, that's cool.
You get visitors to come into land every now and then, and they give you quests and stuff.
Coming to the land?
Yeah.
They have spaceships, though?
Yeah.
All right. It looks like a sort of medieval, like...
No, it's in space. And like the first person who visits you is this woman called Moon.
Okay.
Yeah, spelled
Does she orbit you?
M-U-N with an accented U.
Yeah.
She comes and visits, and she does some things for you, and then she'll fuck off, and then she'll visit again and stuff, and then same with the other guys. But the other guys that come and visit, you can trade with and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I found if you get some cotton and plant it, and do that until the next for as long as you want until the guy visits, and you turn that cotton into thread, you can sell it to him because he fucking loves thread.
Okay.
His spaceship's a hot air balloon that's got all these like gypsy style fabrics everywhere.
All right, yeah.
I think he himself might be a magician gypsy thing.
Okay.
But yeah, you can sell fabric to him for a lot of money, so I'm quite rich.
That sounds kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
Like, I downloaded it as well because obviously it's in your library and thought I'd try it out, but I might try it out sooner than I expected now.
There was a really annoying bit, though, of the game where you had to build, I think to progress and to get people to give you quests again, you had to build, like, fully upgrade your house and build it with a laboratory.
Mm-hmm.
First you get a forge and then just a sleep, option.
Yeah.
And then you can build... a workshop, which is where you can make fabric and stuff like that, and obviously forge, you make bigger things, and then you have to build a kitchen so you can cook things and that, and then it's a laboratory.
Okay.
And you level up. Every time you level up, you go to sleep, and you can choose agility or health or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's random each. You get 2 options, but it's random each time. But yeah, it's not bad. And like, you got to be careful when you plant trees because you need more wood. Because the trees, everything's got a timer, and when it reaches down, I think it gives you a chance of like a seed spawning in that tree, and you go over and you push it, the seed falls down, you pick it up.
Okay.
So what I've been doing is
It sounds kind of like Animal Crossing.
I've never played it, so it might be.
Yeah. It's sort of like on a, I guess, cylinder.
Yeah.
And like as you move, the planet rotates. So
right.
Sounds
It's pretty much like that. But what I do is I just plant like 10 trees, wait until I've got those 10 seeds back, and I'll chop them all down for the wood. But yeah, the really annoying bit I'm talking about, you have to build a laboratory. Is the last bit, I think, of one of the bits anyway. You needed like 50 metal, or 30 metal, and metal is super rare. So I ended up getting like 1,000 stone just trying to get this 30 metal because there's a slight chance you'll get a metal from it. Yeah. But I've just met a pirate who will clear out my mine because I built a mine, and you can only smash so many rocks in there before your cart gets full. And every time he visits, he takes your stone and trades you metal for it. And I wish that was up there in the game earlier, but it wasn't. We're at 35 minutes now or something. So
all right, cool. Let's shut you up. Thank you for listening. We really appreciate that. Don't forget to check us out on Twitter at UT2cast and Instagram Untitled-2 podcast, and we will see you next week.
Could be German. Deiland.
Deutschland.